Sunday, life through the Spirit. Those who live according to the flesh have their mind set on what the flesh desires, but those who live in accordance with the Spirit have their mind set on what the Spirit desires. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. The mind governed by the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those who are in the realm of the flesh cannot please God. You, however, are not in the realm of the flesh, but are in the realm of the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God lives in you. And if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, they do not belong to Christ. But if Christ is in you, even though your body is subject to death because of sin, the Spirit gives life because of righteousness. And if the Spirit of him who raised Christ from the dead is living in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies because of his Spirit who lives in you. For those who are led by the Spirit of God are children of God. The Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. There's beauty in that. So, first 8 years of my faith journey, I didn't experience the fruit of the Spirit, peace and joy and love and contentment, because I was doing religion, but I was in flesh. I was incorporating Jesus into my life, but I never submitted my life to a loving God and allowed my life to be transformed more into his image. That's what this is about. Christianity isn't going to church on Sunday. It's about your life being completely changed, being transformed more and more into the image of God. There's so much more power and freedom and peace and joy and love in that. Because if not, think about that. Everything I did in those first 8 years was in my will, in my strength, in my power. And I'm not very powerful, right? So I didn't experience God's power and God's freedom and God's peace and God's love in my life, because I was incorporating him into my life for a better day. So it was rooted in self. What this Christianity is it truly is about our lives completely being changed. For us being set free, we weren't created to live a life centered in self. We were created to live in harmony with God and to be able to love him and love others. And we settle for kind of a boxed-in Christianity that really doesn't change anything about us. So what we are as Christians is we get hurt by people. We get offended. We get all these things because we're living more by the flesh, and we can do that day by day. When we come to God and we truly submit our life to God, we're being transformed. So it's a process. So have grace with yourself in the process. But it's a beautiful place to be because you understand that you are truly loved and accepted. You're adopted into the family of God. You are a child of God. Now it's living that out in your life, and you're able to truly love unconditionally instead of conditionally. Before, everything's conditional. When we're living a life centered in self, everything's conditional, right? Because you're coming from the posture of need still. You haven't been filled with the Spirit of God. You don't have the fruit of the Spirit flowing from your life because you've incorporated him in, but on the throne of your heart is still you, right? So even if you've been going to church for 20 years, come to him. Come to me, all who are weary and carry heavy burdens, because if you're in that posture, you are carrying heavy burdens because it's still at the core, it's still all about you. Come to him, lay down all that junk in your life and allow him to carry it. Allow him to fill you up with his Holy Spirit, and then live your life from that place, right? It's a beautiful place to be. Come to him and allow him. Yoke yourself to him. Learn his ways. Become more like him instead of incorporating him into your life for a better day, right? Anyway, God bless y'all. Have an amazing Sunday. Today is the day for transformation. God bless y'all.